In this video, we're going to do an overview of the consular process based on marriage to a U.S. citizen, also known as a CR1, general overview how this process works, and with specific references to what's happening right now during the whole COVID-19 crisis with all the delays. Embassies are closed and all that, so make sure you watch the video to the end because we'll have some pretty cool updates. I'll see you on the other side. In this video, I'm going to go through the timeline of the consular process based on marriage, also known as CR1. Many of you have been asking, understanding, specifically those that are kind of starting the process right now or in the middle. They want to know where they're heading or what does it look like, the whole process from A to Z. So in this video, I'm going to go through this process and I'm going to put some specific references to what's happening right now, specifically with this whole pandemic delays. So we'll mention that as well. But the overall process is really important for you to understand, and I wanted to make this video just for you. Before we dive into the video, if you're here for the first time, make sure that you also subscribe to our channel, click that bell to be notified, and also give that video a big like, because many of you are going through this process and we want to make sure that as many people as possible are going to be able to see this video. My name is Jacob Sapochnick and I'm an immigration attorney located here in San Diego, California, and we represent clients in all 50 states and before embassies and consulates around the world. And we're excited to make this video to make it easier for you to understand the process of CR1 consular processing based on marriage. So let's jump right in. So the consular processing, also known as CR1, is a pretty lengthy process, especially now as we are in this pandemic. It's taking a really long time and people are really frustrated being separated from their loved ones. So in this video, I just wanted to, let's go through all the phases of this process so you know where you are in this whole cycle and you know what to expect next. So first thing first, the first step when you file for a spouse from overseas, you're trying to immigrate your spouse, the first step is what is called the USCIS filing. We have to file the I-130 marriage petition with USCIS. That's step number one. That includes all the supporting documents and everything we need to include in this package. But without this step, where the U.S. citizen spouse has to file the marriage petition I-130 with USCIS. Once that's filed, typically before the pandemic, it took a couple of weeks to get a receipt. Right now, and again, I've done quite a few videos about that, it's taking quite longer to get a receipt. Some people are waiting even 6 weeks to get the initial receipt notice, also known as notice of action. So again, don't worry if it's taking a little bit longer, it's okay, but you're going to get it. But that's the first step, USCIS filing and getting that first receipt. After the first step, after you file the I-130, which is the marriage petition, you pay the correct fee, and you receive your first receipt notice, which again may take about 6 weeks now with this pandemic delays. Step number two will be probably after 8 to even 12 months with this current delays, you'll be getting either an approval of your I-130, of the marriage petition, or a request for evidence, which they may ask for more information, maybe proof, maybe some documents are not legible, or maybe some proof about the relationship. They can ask for anything. Or a third option is a denial. Sometimes they can deny the case flat out if you didn't qualify from the beginning. Could be different reasons. But those are the three things that can happen in this notice of action within 8 months or so to a year after you receive the first receipt. But assuming that everything goes well and you get approved, we can move to step number 3, which is the National Visa Center. The National Visa Center is a buffer agency between the USCIS and the embassy. At that point, you will receive an email with instructions to pay the fees, with some forms, and how to proceed forward with uploading the documents to the National Visa Center. It is really important to do everything correctly. Any mistakes in that process can delay this even further. The embassy currently has everything processed online, so it's very easy to complete the DS-260, which is the main application form that you have to complete with all the supporting documents. Make sure that all the birth certificates are done correctly, are translated correctly, are uploaded correctly, We've seen so many delays at the MVC phase, which could have been avoided, so make sure that is done correctly. Like I said, right now the MVC is fairly backlogged as well during the pandemic, but they're still processing cases. So as long as you do everything correctly during the MVC stage, it will make it much easier for you down the line. Once everything is done with the MVC, your case will be sent to a queue to the interview pending your. So again, at the MVC stage, once your spouse's background checks come clear, everything looks good, the forms are good, then the Bureau of Consular Affairs will send the case to the U.S. Embassy. At that point, you do not have to do anything. They will send the case directly. A few weeks after the embassy will receive the file from National Visa Center, they will send the foreign spouse a letter stating specifically instructions on scheduling their medical exam and then instructions on scheduling the interview. Now, this is typically how it works on a normal basis, but right now during the pandemic, this is a stage that is being currently frozen, so the embassies are not able to schedule appointments unless it's an emergency or specific reason for an expedited. So typically right now, the embassies are holding those files pending the opening of the different posts. And I've done a video before where I specifically went through some of these embassies that are currently already open and some that are not open. That's why it's really important to be in contact with your U.S. Embassy as soon as you're done with the MVC stage, to make sure you be in touch with your embassy to see when they're going to be reopening, so you'll be able to follow up after you receive that letter to be able to schedule your. After the embassy sends the foreign spouse the letter of instructions, it is really important to schedule the medical exam and pay the fees. Every embassy has a different procedure in every country, but you get the instructions in the package, and so it's important as soon as you get it to schedule the medical exam and get it done. Like I said, some embassies are currently reopening, and so it is possible to continue that process. So make sure you check with your embassy, and as soon as you get the instructions, make sure you do it right away, because there's going to be a lot of backlogs coming up in the next few months. The next step is the interview. Assuming the embassy is open and you're able to schedule an interview, make sure you prepare for the interview. You have all the documents sent to you by NVC. Make sure to look at the instructions if you need to bring any additional documents to the interview that were not sent already, because you'll get that information in your instruction letter. So make sure you follow that letter carefully and come prepared for the interview. At the interview, the officer will ask, the U.S. citizen does not have to appear for the interview. That is a question that I get all the time. The U.S. citizen does not have to appear at the interview. It's just for the foreign spouse. The spouse will be asked certain questions about the relationship, about different things that are, different documents that are included in the package. Make sure that you prepare for the interview, go through your MVC package before, and make sure there's no contradicting answers to what was already provided before. After the interview, if all goes well, the visa could be issued the same day or within a few days. Once you have the passport, you will see that there is, you'll pay the immigrant visa fee to get the visa issued. And once you get the immigrant visa, you will see that the visa is good for 6 months. You have 6 months to enter the United States at that point. It's very important to know that once the immigrant visa is issued, you're also going to get a package from the U.S. Embassy with specific document. Those documents you're going to give to the agent at a port of entry, and they're going to process those documents. And once you enter the United States, typically the green card will be mailed to you within 4 weeks. And that's it. That's pretty much the whole cycle of the CR1 visa. What is important to remember right now, during the pandemic, the biggest backlog right now is for spouses to schedule their interviews from the moment they are approved by the MVC and they're waiting in the queue. We have right now people that have been waiting for their interviews, almost 10 months. We have the people have been waiting for almost 10 months, 11 months. So remember that the process that I described to you, the big backlog is now happening between the NVC and the actual interviews, because right now most of these consulates or embassies are closed, so they're not able to schedule interviews, they're not able to proceed with scheduling for medical exams and all that. So people have been waiting for almost a year now to get their interviews scheduled. So our suggestion right now is to stay close contact with your specific embassies, specifically if you are already past the NVC. Make sure you call the NVC and find out if everything is done on their side. You can actually call the NVC and they'll tell you if anything is missing or you're just basically waiting in a queue. And if you are waiting in a queue, make sure you follow up with your specific embassy to make sure that they have your case and as soon as they reopen, you'll be able to schedule your appointment right away. Okay? So once again, hopefully this overview was helpful. Again, most people can still file their I-130s. Most people can still file their cases in the USCIS. It will take about 8 months to a year until it will be approved, and only then you'll be sent to the NVC. So you don't have to worry about it. Even though there are delays right now, even though the embassies are closed, you can file your immigrant green cards right now for spouses. There's no problem with that, because by the time you are going to get to the appointment or to be scheduled for an appointment, hopefully this backlog is going to be already over. But for those of you that are now waiting post NVC, make sure you follow up with the consulate and talk to an attorney to see if there are any other alternative like adjustment of status or coming to the United States. There may be some options for certain people that qualify. Once again, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you're here for the first time. Click that bell to be notified. I don't want you to miss any of our videos. And I wanted to thank you for being here, for supporting us, for always asking questions and posting your comments, because based on that, I know what videos to make and I'm making them for you. Thank you so much, guys. And don't forget, if you want to join our Facebook group, the link is also in the description. This is a place where we continue the discussion and talk about issues that we don't really cover in our videos. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in our next video.